Danny Koker's hit show, Counting Cars, once seemed like a dream, a place where custom builds and loyal friends came together. But like any empire, cracks began to show. Familiar faces vanished, leaving fans with more questions than answers. Some left quietly, some were pushed out, and a few left behind whispers of betrayal and drama that never truly faded. The truth about what really happened inside Count Kustoms will change how you see the show forever. Get ready, because Danny Koker is finally naming the 5 worst employees who did not make the cut. From the very start of Counting Cars, Rolly Sabo was a fan favorite. Nicknamed Rock and Raleigh, he was not just the shop's detailer, he was the show's comic relief. With his thick Hungarian accent, big personality, and easy laugh, Rolly stood out in every scene. Whether he was polishing chrome, vacuuming car insides, or telling jokes with Kevin and Danny, Rolly made the garage feel like a party. But behind the humor was real talent. As the main detailer, Rolly was the one who made every finished car look perfect before it went back to the customer or in front of the camera. Smudges, fingerprints, and dust never stood a chance when Rolly was working. He took his job seriously, and Danny often praised his careful work. Fans loved him, and his popularity grew with every season. That is why his disappearance was so confusing. Rolly was on the show regularly from season 2 through season 6. Then, all of a sudden, he was gone. There was no explanation, no goodbye scene, and no one from the crew ever talked about it. As always, the silence only made the rumors grow. Some people said Rolly had a big fight with other staff members. Others whispered that he had been fired after arguing with the TV show's producers or showing up late too many times. The most worrying story came out in 2017, when news reports said that Rolly's trailer, which held thousands of dollars worth of tools and equipment for detailing, had been stolen. The theft was real and was confirmed by local Las Vegas news. Rolly posted a short message on social media about what happened, showing he was upset and sad. But after that, he went completely silent. What is interesting is that no legal problems followed Rolly's exit. There were no charges filed against him, no lawsuits, and no public complaints from Danny or the team. This suggests that if there was a problem, it was handled quietly within the shop and stayed that way. Some fans believe Rolly chose to leave after his trailer was stolen, tired of the hard work and ready to start something new on his own. And that is exactly what he did. Rolly Sabo started his own business, Rock and Raleigh Custom Detailing, which is a mobile detailing service in Las Vegas. He may not be on TV anymore, but he still works on cars, and from what people say, he does a great job. His business has many loyal customers, and his reputation for careful work has stayed strong. Like many others who left Counting Cars, Rolly has kept quiet about the real reason he left. His happy face on TV hid a private struggle, and his quiet exit shows that not all departures are about public fights. Sometimes they are about personal choices and new beginnings. If a quiet departure can cause a stir, what about someone whose very presence was a clash of colors and personalities? If Counting Cars had a rock star, it was Mike Henry. With his famous horned helmet, bright-colored mohawks, and high energy, Mike brought something wild to the garage that no one else could copy. But he was not just there for laughs. As the show's main airbrush artist, Mike had a rare mix of crazy ideas and real skill. From fire-breathing skulls to strange sci-fi scenes, Mike's paintwork turned cars, bikes, and even helmets into moving pieces of art. Fans loved him for his unique style, his funny jokes, and his true passion for pushing the limits of custom design. But that passion often led to problems. While Danny Koker valued Mike's talent, there were many times, both on camera and behind the scenes, when their ideas did not match. Mike liked to try new things, break rules, and make bold statements. Danny, on the other hand, even though he was open to new ideas, still had to protect his business, meet deadlines, and make sure customers were happy. This tension sometimes got out of control. There were also reports that Mike had trouble with the show's demands. In interviews and comments on social media, Mike hinted at the stress of working under tight schedules. This meant trying to finish complex designs while also filming scenes and doing what the producers asked. The pressure of being both a full-time artist and a reality TV star took a toll on him. Over the years, Mike's time on screen started to get shorter. He still appeared in episodes, but not as often as he did when the show first started. Some fans wondered if he had been forced out, while others believed he had chosen to work less. Mike eventually started to focus on his own brand, Horny Mike Designs. His business, based in Las Vegas, has grown into a full operation. He offers custom airbrushed items, motorcycle helmets, and unique creations that look like they belong in an art gallery more than a garage. Mike is also very active on social media, where he shares his projects, jokes, and behind-the-scenes looks into his world. Unlike some former cast members, Mike never completely cut ties with Count Kustoms. And even though he may have often argued with Danny Koker, Mike remains one of the most unforgettable people to ever work at the Count Kustoms garage, Scott Jones. Now, let us look at a departure that was full of mystery and rumors of money problems, yet in the end, stayed legally clean. In the early seasons of Counting Cars, Scott Jones was the person who kept everything in order. While Danny Koker was the heart and soul of the shop, and the rest of the crew worked on fixing cars and painting, Scott was the one keeping track of money, making sure things were done on time, and sometimes saying no. As the shop manager and bookkeeper during Counting Cars' first 2 seasons, Scott did not win fans over with a warm personality or flashy style. He was direct, focused on numbers, and clearly more interested in protecting the business's money than entertaining the audience. That made him a person people either loved or hated, but in a business where custom cars could cost tens of thousands of dollars to build, and deadlines were always close, his presence was very important, at least at first. What made Scott's role so tense was his frequent arguments with Danny on TV. While Danny often made quick emotional decisions by approving expensive parts or saying yes to sudden redesigns, Scott was the one always bringing him back to reality. Viewers saw it again and again, Scott warning that a project was costing too much or was behind schedule, and Danny pushing back, sometimes very hard. It was real tension, and it did not always make for easy teamwork on set. This constant tension, while good for television, likely added to the demanding atmosphere inside the shop. Then, without much warning, Scott was gone. After season 2, he disappeared from the show completely. There was no goodbye, no official explanation on camera, and no emotional farewell, just silence. As expected, fans immediately started asking questions, and rumors began to spread. Some rumors said that Scott had been caught mishandling money or even stealing from the business. However, unlike a later case that would shock the shop, no charges were ever filed against Scott. There is no public lawsuit, no police report, and no official accusation linking Scott to any kind of crime. From a legal point of view, his departure was clean. This difference is important, as it separates TV drama and guesses from actual legal wrongdoing. The only explanation ever given was that Scott moved to Tennessee to be closer to his family, and to his credit, that is exactly where he ended up. Today, Scott Jones runs Koker's Extreme Automotive in Rand Mountain, Tennessee, a high-performance shop that works on custom builds, restoration, and repair. In recent years, he even appeared on Netflix's Swap Shop, a reality show about treasure hunters and collectors in small-town America. Despite the rumors, Scott has never talked publicly about his time on Counting Cars, and Danny has not said anything about the real reasons behind Scott's departure. It is still unknown whether the tension behind the scenes simply became too much, or if there were deeper money disagreements. What is clear is that after 2 intense seasons, both men seemed ready to go their separate ways, and neither looked back. His role as the numbers man and his constant arguments with Danny over money likely added to the intensity that led to his exit. Joseph Frontier's ultimate betrayal. If Scott Jones's departure was mysterious, the next one was a full-blown shock that broke the image of trust at Count Kustoms. Every workplace has its quiet employees, the ones who stay in the background, do not make much noise, and rarely end up in front of the camera. But sometimes it is the ones you least expect who end up causing the biggest damage. On Counting Cars, that person was Joseph Frontier. While most viewers probably did not even remember his face, Frontier was not just another crew member. He was not welding car frames or airbrushing flames. He was handling something far more sensitive: the money. Frontier was hired as the company's bookkeeper and was brought in to manage payroll, keep track of costs, and make sure Count Kustoms stayed financially healthy behind the scenes. In a business that dealt with high-end custom builds and budgets of many thousands of dollars, his role was absolutely vital. But in 2016, that quiet accountant suddenly became the center of a very loud problem. Court documents showed that Danny Koker's shop Count Kustoms, had filed a lawsuit against Joseph Frontier, accusing him of stealing more than $75,000 from the business. This was not just a case of small mistakes or minor overspending. The claims were clear, detailed, and extremely serious. According to the lawsuit, Frontier had supposedly used the company's money to pay for his own personal things, including a large down payment on a Range Rover and many airline tickets for private travel. What made the accusations even worse was that he did not just take money, he reportedly tried to hide it. The lawsuit accused him of faking Danny's signature on several papers and changing financial records in a way that made the theft harder to find. For a company that was proud of its trust, loyalty, and hardworking values, this was a huge blow. Count Kustoms was not just a garage, it was a family, or at least that is how Danny and his crew saw it. For someone in such an important position to betray that trust so openly was not just unprofessional, it was deeply personal. Danny did not just point fingers at the bookkeeper. The lawsuit also named the staffing agency that placed Frontier in the job, Randstad USA. The claim was that the agency had failed to properly check Frontier's background or tell them about problems from his past jobs. Basically, Count Kustoms said that Randstad sent them a ticking time bomb and then did nothing about it. The lawsuit made headlines, especially among fans of the show. Viewers were shocked. While Counting Cars had always shown a bit of shop tension and the occasional personality clash, no one expected a stealing scandal to hit the crew. It was the kind of drama that did not need editing to feel intense. And yet, if you watch the show carefully, Frontier's exit was handled with almost strange silence. There was no on-camera fight, no explanation from Danny, and no final goodbye. He simply disappeared from the series without a trace. The show kept moving forward, the builds continued, and the audience was left to figure things out based on court papers and news reports. What made it all even stranger was how completely Frontier disappeared from public view. Unlike some former cast members who later showed up on social media or in interviews, Joseph Frontier went completely off the grid. It was as if he had erased himself entirely after the lawsuit became public. Whether that was on purpose or just because of the legal mess he was in, no one can say for sure. As for the legal case itself, public documents show that the dispute eventually went through the court system, but many of the final details remain secret or not fully known to the public. Count Kustoms took the matter seriously, but Danny Koker never made a public statement about what happened. That silence speaks volumes. For a man known for his big personality and love of telling stories, Danny's choice to stay quiet about Frontier might have been his way of drawing a line. Perhaps he did not want to give the scandal more attention, or maybe for someone so deeply committed to loyalty, the betrayal just hurt too much to talk about. What is certain is this: Joseph Frontier's actions left a permanent scar on Count Kustoms. It was not just about the stolen money, it was about breaking trust. For Danny Koker, who built his entire business around respect, passion, and craftsmanship, that kind of wound does not heal easily. This stealing represents the most serious breaking of trust, and the only time a crime was confirmed among the employee departures. Shannon Akau's quiet departure. From the shocking betrayal of Joseph Frontier, we now turn to a much more understated character whose absence was felt deeply by fans. Of all the team members on Counting Cars, Shannon Akau might have been the most underrated. He was calm, focused, and very skilled. He was not the loudest guy in the garage, but when it came to custom motorcycle builds, he was truly one of the best. As Count Kustoms' main bike builder, Shannon helped create some of the show's most memorable two-wheel transformations, and his amazing work spoke for itself. Shannon's love for all things motorcycle came from his dad, Jimmy, who was a longtime friend of the Koker family. He met Danny Koker while working for Evil Twin Cycles in Las Vegas, and has been building motorcycles for Count Kustoms ever since. In the earlier seasons, Shannon was always there. Whenever Danny wanted something bold, complex, or completely unusual, Shannon delivered. His builds were not just technically impressive, they had personality. Whether it was a chopper with an old-school feel or a sleek modern machine built for speed, Shannon's work had a special mix of exactness and art. He had built over 300 bikes during his time at Count Kustoms, each one a new and exciting experience. But around Season 7, fans started to notice something strange. Shannon was showing up less and less. He was not in the group pictures. He was not giving updates on builds. and his once regular scenes had been cut down to quick appearances or just being in the background. Just like that, he faded from the spotlight. What exactly happened? Unlike other cast members who were involved in scandals or lawsuits, Shannon's disappearance did not come with any public arguments. There were no legal problems, fights, or news stories. In fact, the most common rumor about his exit was that he had quietly changed his focus, and it no longer fit with counting cars. Some people who knew what was happening behind the scenes have said that Shannon simply did not like the direction the show started to take in later seasons. As Counting Cars focused more on high-drama editing, custom hot rods, and celebrity builds, Shannon's world of quiet, detailed motorcycle craftsmanship may have felt pushed aside. Shannon's expertise, while highly valued, might have become less important to the show's changing focus. Some other rumors have suggested creative differences. Shannon may have wanted more freedom in how his builds were shown, while producers focused on creating stories that would appeal to TV audiences. Whatever the reason, he did not make a fuss. He just stepped away from the cameras. But stepping away from the show did not mean stepping away from the work. Shannon Icow is still active in the Las Vegas custom scene, still building bikes and still making his craft perfect. He is sometimes seen at motorcycle events and trade shows, and his name still has great respect in the custom community. He does not look for public attention, and he has never said anything bad about the show or the shop. That silence, in its own way, says a lot. For fans who admired Shannon's steady presence and masterful builds, his quiet exit was disappointing. But unlike others who left under clouds of drama, Shannon's legacy remains clean, respected, and untouched. His story shows that not all departures are about conflict. Sometimes, they are about quietly following one's true passion. The world of custom cars and reality TV is full of twists and turns, highs and lows. Each one faced their own unique challenges, and each departure left its mark on Danny Koker and Count Kustoms. The garage may have seen its share of ups and downs, but Danny's passion for cars and his drive to build the best always kept the wheels turning.